Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important concepts in Samuel Taylor Coleridge's literary criticism, that is primary imagination and secondary imagination. Coleridge explains these concepts mainly in chapter 13 of Biographia Literaria that was published in 1817. His theory of imagination is one of the most significant contributions to Romantic literary criticism. Before Coleridge, imagination was generally considered the power of forming mental pictures or images. Coleridge gives it a much deeper philosophical meaning. For him, imagination is not a passive faculty, it is an active and creative power through which the human mind perceives and understands reality. Let's first understand primary imagination. Coleridge calls it the living power and prime agent of all human perception. In simple words, primary imagination is the basic imaginative power possessed by every normal human being. When we see a tree, for example, our eyes receive different impressions, its color, shape, branches, and leaves. Our mind automatically combines these impressions and recognizes them as one complete object, a tree. This process takes place naturally and unconsciously. Therefore, primary imagination is universal, unconscious, and essential to human perception. Now, let's come to secondary imagination. Coleridge calls it an echo of the former. It is closely related to primary imagination but is a higher and more creative faculty. It is particularly important for the poet and artist. Through secondary imagination, the poet does not simply copy reality but transforms and recreates it. Coleridge famously says that secondary imagination dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate. This means that the poet breaks ordinary experiences into their essential elements and then combines and transforms them into a new artistic whole. For example, an ordinary person may see a sunset simply as the sun going down and the sky changing color. A poet, however, may see the sunset as a symbol of death, beauty, and farewell or hope. This transformation of ordinary experience into something meaningful is the work of secondary imagination. Coleridge also distinguishes imagination from fancy. Fancy is mainly a mechanical power that simply combines and rearranges existing images. Imagination, on the other hand, is creative and organic. It produces a new unity rather than merely putting old elements together. Thus, students, we can remember the distinction very simply. Primary imagination helps us perceive reality, while secondary imagination helps the poet recreate reality. Primary imagination is common to all human beings, whereas secondary imagination is especially important in artistic creation. Therefore, Coleridge places imagination at the very center of poetry. For him, the great poet is not one who merely imitates nature, but one who possesses the creative power to transform ordinary reality into a new and meaningful artistic experience. Thank you.